Hello and welcome to De-Stress for Success, Building Resilience Through Wellness. My name is Diane Verrochi and I'm a registered nurse and nurse educator at the University of Hartford. I'm guessing you chose this workshop because you're stressed. Right now, I don't know anyone who isn't, truly, which is why I decided on the virtual beach background. I'm hoping you'll find it relaxing. Like I said, pretty much everyone is stressed out right now. But if, in addition to simply living through a pandemic, you're also a member of the queer community, the Black community, the disabled community, or other groups that are often under added stress, this is sometimes called minority stress, your stress level is probably even higher. There are a lot of things we need to do to fix our world so that this is not true. There will always be stress, but it should not be true that some people always have more stress than others just because of who they are. In the meantime, while we work on fixing the world, we also need to build up our own resilience. That means our ability to bounce back from stress, to not let it have as much of an impact on us. The goal is that by the end of this workshop, you'll have brainstormed some of the things you already do to manage your stress, plus some you'd like to try. Learned at least one tool that you can use to help manage your stress, and created a personalized wellness plan for yourself. One new thing I'm adding this year is a tip to help your immune system. I'm actually going to start with that tip because I think it's really important, especially for folks with darker skin. Get your vitamin D. Everyone talks about getting your vitamin C for your immune system, and that's important too. But vitamin D is also important for your immune system, especially for respiratory illnesses. I'll include some links somewhere so that you can learn more about that. The thing is, with most of us staying inside more during this COVID-19 pandemic, we're not getting as much sun exposure, and that's the main way we get our vitamin D. Also, there's a trade-off in how efficiently your skin makes vitamin D from sun exposure, and how well your skin protects you from getting burned by sun exposure. It seems it can do one of these things well, or the other, but not both. So if your skin is darker, it's better at protecting you from sunburn. If your skin is lighter, it's better at making vitamin D from the sun. So make sure that you're getting healthy and safe amounts of sun if you can, and maybe check in with your healthcare provider about whether it would be a good idea to take a vitamin D supplement, especially if you're indoors a lot or have darker skin. One of the benefits to doing this workshop in video format is that you can pause me for as long or as short of a time as you need when I ask you to do some things. There are going to be times I ask you to do some brainstorming, starting with now. There's a worksheet I hand out for in-person workshops, and I'm going to have it available to download from Google Drive. But if you don't want to do that or can't find the link to do that, here are the things I'm inviting for you to brainstorm. What do you do when you feel down that makes you feel better? What do you do when you've had a bad day at school or work? What makes you feel better when you feel anxious? When you get to choose what to eat, what do you go for? What are some physically active things you like to do? What are some mentally active things you like to do? What are some spiritually active things you like to do? Whatever that means to you. You might want to use the pre-made sheet if that's helpful to you, or you may want to use a journal if you keep one and have this be something you come back to every so often. Because these answers will change over time as your life and circumstances change, and checking in on this stuff every so often can be a good habit to develop. Okay, I'll shut up now, hit pause, and tackle those first. Go ahead and rewind/replay as needed if you missed something. Back? Okay, more brainstorming. That batch was about things you already do or know work for you. Now let's brainstorm some things you'd like to try. When you feel down, what new thing would you like to try to make you feel better? When you feel anxious, what new thing would you like to try to make you feel better? When you get to choose what to eat, what is something you'd like to try? What are some physically active things you'd like to try? What are some mentally active things you'd like to try? What are some spiritually active things you'd like to try, whatever that means to you? All set? Great. So now that you've done a self-assessment on tools you already have to help manage your stress and tools you would like to try in order to manage your stress, I've got another template for you on Google Drive, which will again be linked somewhere. But if you can't find the link or don't have a printer, no problem. There's an easy way to make something similar. Grab a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper and fold it in half lengthwise like this and crease it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Then, holding it so that it's tall rather than long, fold it in half so that the top edges come down to meet the bottom edge and crease it again. Now, if you're holding it so the top edge is a fold, but all the other three sides are able to open, fold the top down again to match the bottom. And crease it. When you open it up, you now have a sheet of paper with 8 more or less equally sized blocks, one for each day of the week, plus one left for notes that we'll get to in a little bit. So go ahead and label these sections for each day of the week and jot down what you already know about your schedule. I'll do a sample based on my schedule. Okay, so not that you can probably read it, but I put down the times I work and some other things that I know have specific times that tend to happen during the week. So I made this schedule based on what my life looks like now, which is what I recommend you do for right now, not what you think it'll look like in the fall or when things get back to normal, whatever that means. You can always make another one when things change. In fact, that's a really good idea. So now, if you look at the list you made earlier, you might have even put them on the other side of this paper. Looking at things you either already do to manage your stress, sadness, or anxiety, as well as the things you want to try. Some of them might not have been all that healthy, right? Lots of people have coping strategies that actually hurt us in the long run, like binge watching Netflix or doing marathon Minecraft sessions. Watching Netflix isn't necessarily bad for you, and neither is playing video games. But too much of either one means you're not getting physical activity that your body needs. So these are things you might want to limit. Maybe watch one episode of that show or play for one Minecraft day and then do something else for a while. Hopefully you came up with some other things that are physically, mentally, or spiritually active that you either already do or would like to take up. How often do you think you want to plan on doing them? For physical activity, the CDC recommends that people from age 6 to 17 do at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity every day. For adults, the recommendation is at least 150 minutes per week of moderate to vigorous activity, including both aerobic and muscle strengthening activities. That works out to 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Those goals may sound overwhelming, so while it's useful to have them in mind, the big thing is to make sure you're doing something and doing it regularly. And maybe work up to those goals over time. If staying home and staying safe means that you feel like you've turned into a couch potato, maybe start with a goal of 15 minutes of walking per day. Tip, there are some walking videos on YouTube to make it interesting, even if you're pretty much just walking in place at home. If you think an hour a day of Pilates is reasonable for you, on the other hand, then by all means, go for it. In the notes section of your paper, which I actually called it goals, write down what your ideal week would look like, including physical, mental, and spiritual activity. Leave yourself some room though, because let's be real, how many ideal weeks do we have, right? Sometimes we'll have a good run of them, and then something comes up and throws us off. So have a plan for that. What do you think your week can still look like if you have some kind of disruption so that you're still taking care of yourself and building your resilience? And then finally, imagine the worst week you've had in the last 6 months. What do you think you could have reasonably done to take care of yourself during that week that would have supported your wellness and resilience? It might not even include any of the things you've written down so far. So maybe you've come up with something you want to do every day on the perfect week, 3 times a week on an average week, and at least once on a really bad week. Figure out where you can fit that into your week schedule. If you're going to do yoga every day, which is one of the practices I really like because it has mental, physical, and spiritual aspects, they weren't going to fit. If one of the things you put down is something you'd need to take a class to do or get some equipment to do, that may not be feasible right now, but you still have it down as something you want to try in the future. Maybe choose a backup plan until such time as that's possible. Going for a walk outside, if that's something you're able to do safely where you are, is another activity many people find fulfills them on physical, mental, and spiritual levels. But your activities don't have to be combos. You might experience running as purely physical and prefer meditation or prayer to tend to your spiritual wellness. You might do the crossword puzzle in the newspaper over breakfast to tend to your mental wellness, if that's something you enjoy and if people actually still get physical newspapers with crosswords in them. Be creative. So far, the goals we've hit have been the immune system tip, get your vitamin D, assess the wellness tools you already use, and brainstorm ones you want to try, and build your personalized wellness plan. That leaves teaching you a new tool. The one I'm going to teach you might be familiar if you already practice yoga. It's called Nadi Shodhanam, or alternate nostril breathing. It's a fairly simple breathing technique that is said to help balance the left and right sides of the brain. Like many yoga practices, or really any practices, how much you get out of it depends on how you approach it. Maybe it just gives you a way to slow down your breathing and calm the physical effects of any anxiety you may be feeling, which is great. Maybe the fiddly part of closing and opening each nostril gives your mind something to do to focus on whatever other than whatever has been stressing you out. Or maybe the idea of a connection between breath and spirit speaks to you on some level, and so the practice also supports your spiritual wellness. Any and all of these are great. So take from it what works for you. Okay, how do you actually do this thing? So first, make sure your hands are clean. Feel free to pause the video and go wash them for at least 20 seconds, or at least use some 60% alcohol hand sanitizer, which was sitting right next to me. Because you're going to be putting your hands near your face, which in general you don't want to do. But if you are going to, you need to make sure they're clean. And if you're using hand sanitizer, that means you rub your hands until they are actually dry. It's the drying process that kills the germs. Okay. Now, take your dominant hand and hold it with the palm facing you. And fold down your pointer finger and middle finger. If your ring finger doesn't really want to stay extended, then you can fold that one down too. You're going to use your thumb and either your ring finger or your pinky finger to close off first one nostril and then the other using a specific pattern. If you use a prosthetic that does not readily allow you to get the fingers into this position, don't sweat it. Just focus on doing whatever means of closing off the nostrils works for you. If you're not able to physically close off your nostrils like this for some reason, then just use your attention to focus on the sensation of your breath in each nostril as I cue you. All right, here goes. Take a deep breath in. If you're right-handed, you're going to be using your thumb to close off your right nostril. If you're left-handed, you're going to use your ring finger or pinky finger to close off your right nostril. But either way, you're starting by closing off the right nostril. Now exhale nice and slow through your left nostril. Inhale nice and slow through the left nostril. And when you've inhaled as much as you're going to, pause and switch so that you're closing off your left nostril. Now exhale nice and slow through your right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril nice and easy. And when you reach the top of your inhalation, switch to close off the right nostril and exhale through your left nostril. 2 more times. Inhale through the left. Switch. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. And switch. Exhale through the left. Inhale. Switch. Right side exhale. Inhale. Switch, and last time, exhale through the left. And release. How does that feel? Hopefully you feel a bit more relaxed than you did earlier, a bit more balanced. It's part of why I saved it for the end. I didn't want to relax you so much that you'd fall asleep and miss the rest. Again, that technique is called Nadi Shodhanam, and they've done studies and everything on using it to reduce stress. The resources I've mentioned will, I believe, be linked in the YouTube description box below. If True Colors has decided to place links in a different location, that's where they will be. I hope you found this useful. Oh, your wellness plan is a living document. I've said this a couple of times, but like you and like me, like all of us, it's forever a work in progress. So if you find that it's not working for you, that doesn't say something bad about you. It says the plan isn't working for you. So you need a new plan. The best wellness plan is the one that actually works for you, that you actually do. So change it up if it's not working, or if your life changes or your schedule changes. That way, while we're all working on fixing the things that give us and others these additional stresses, we're managing how we respond to those stresses along the way. In the words of Audre Lorde, a Black lesbian poet and activist, caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. We all want to make the world a better place. To do the best job of that, we need to make sure we're resilient and able to do the work that needs to be done. So, go on and take care of yourself. Be well.